Hello and welcome everybody, whether you are with us live or watching the replay. It's wonderful to be with you all, and very special welcome to my beautiful guests, Julian Higginson and Alida Haarhoff. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Thanks very much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us, and I'm excited about our topic, about deepening our transformation. And I know you ladies have so much experience between you. So for all of you watching, just let us know if you're with us, if you're live and you can see us and hear us okay. And if you have any questions or comments to make as we're going along, please drop those into the comment section underneath the video, whether you're watching on Facebook or on LinkedIn. And we will follow along and answer those and keep in touch. We'd love to connect with you all as we go. So let me kick off with a quick intro about these lovely ladies. And so they're both collaborating beautifully to help people deepen their transformation and connect with their inner wisdom. This is really speaking to me. I'm not sure about all of you. Julian is an accomplished transformational life coach, a life joy instigator, and an energy healer, passionate about helping people reclaim themselves and to expose their light and experience passion, joy, success, and brilliance. Bring it on, Julian, all of that. She has worked in the field of energy healing for 21 years and has a wealth of experience in various modalities, including counseling and coaching. And Alida is an intuitive counselor and a coach who uses her highly developed intuition and tools like tarot cards, numerology, and family constellation, I'm so interested in this, to help heal others on their life journey. She is deeply passionate about what she does, and she has been doing her healing work for over 20 years now. She also facilitates and runs inspirational retreats. And Julian and Alida both work online and also in person from their respective healing rooms in beautiful Glen Cairn in Cape Town, very close to my heart. So ladies, may I ask you to kick off, and perhaps Julian, you can start by sharing a bit about your journey and what has led you to do the beautiful things that you do today.
Thanks, Naomi. Well, I have always known, I believe, that this type of work was what was right for me. As a youngster, when people used to ask me what I was going to do, I always thought of being a nurse, because that was the only form of work I could picture as working with people at that point in time. And so after that time, I didn't actually go into nursing. I went into the corporate field, and eventually at a certain point, after my sister's death, actually, my youngest sister, Carol, I had this revelation that it was time for me just to get on with things, because something that she used to say to me always was, if not now, then when? And I felt like I'd paused for far too long, and I'd hesitated, and I then just embraced it and fully jumped into the path, starting my path with Reiki initially, and moving all the way through to master and teacher. And then I've just done numerous modalities after that point. And when I started working with this, when I started working with people and seeing the transformation, seeing them find themselves, I was just so inspired. I felt like I'd find something that I love to give and I was completely passionate about. So yeah, so that's the start to my journey.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joel. And it's so sad to hear about your sister passing away, obviously quite young then. But yeah, wonderful that you have really brought all of this through and, you know, transformed that really and initiated all of this beautiful work that you do. And so fantastic for all of your clients around the world, because I know that you've done amazing things for them too. So that's magic. Thank you, Joel. And Alida, may we switch over to you, and will you share with us what has led you to do all of these beautiful things that you do?
Sure. My actual journey, I think, started about 26 years ago. And at that stage, I wanted to fall pregnant. I was newly married, and my deepest desire was to have children. So when I went to the doctors told me that the chances of me conceiving a child on my own basically is next to nothing. and that we needed to carry on and do extra work in terms of artificial inseminations and the gifts, etc., so that I can fall pregnant. So after a long and extensive journey of about 5 years, where I probably did about 5 artificial inseminations and 1 gift, and none of them worked, and the result just came back negative, negative, negative. It was an absolutely emotional roller coaster ride for me at that stage. I decided, no, I'm not going to do that route any longer. I'm going to step away from that. But my desire of wanting to be a mother, that didn't go away. So then my one friend actually came to me and she said to me, listen, yeah, I went to the psychic, and the psychic says you're going to have a baby, which was my questioning all along, because I could see a child for myself, because I've got extra vision. So I could see this little blonde little girl walking next to me, but I couldn't understand because it didn't work out the way the doctors were telling me and the way that it went at that stage. So I was so fascinated. I went to see the psychic myself, obviously. I went in there, barging, wanting to find out what it is that she's now seeing for me. And I immediately resonated with her, and she just looked at me and she said to me, oh, okay, here you are. She must have recognized me from a different level, because we then became good friends and we worked a lot together as well. And then she said to me, listen, your baby girl is waiting for you, but she's ready for you, but you're not ready for her yet. You've got to do some work. So I then did the work. I started delving deeper into the spiritual field. I started doing the meditations. I started to go for all the healings at that stage. And then I went to another tarot reader, and I was fascinated that she said the same. She said to me, your baby girl is waiting. And I said to my ex-husband now, but my husband at that stage, I said to him, listen, I want to go and read the cards, because I want to see myself how they can see that. So that's what I did. I went for my first course in tarot reading, and then I went for my second course in tarot reading. And then about just after that, I sat down and I said to my husband at that stage, listen, let me do a reading for you. And it really came just very natural to me. Even the tarot reader said at that stage to me, she just said to me, it just came so natural to you. I just started doing the reading for him, and I said to him, listen, this card is saying that I'm going to fall pregnant within a month. And I fell pregnant within a month, naturally, without any. This is quite emotional, even to think about that, because all the work that I've done, actually, and the work that I needed to do, then brought me to where I actually was supposed to be. And that's my daughter's input in my life. And from there on, I then started doing this more. I needed to move away from my own work that I was doing at that stage, because I realized that this is a very deeply a passion of mine to help others, and I really wanted to help other people.
Oh, that's such a special story, Alida. Thank you for sharing that, really, and deeply personal. I actually resonate strongly with your story, because I also went through an IVF scenario many years ago now, because my husband had a vasectomy after his daughter was born. And anyway, for us, it didn't work out, and for me, it was the right thing. There was a lot of questioning and a lot of confusion, but I fully understand the emotional roller coaster. And I'm so happy for you that it worked out that way, and you have your daughter, and that it led you into helping other women. That's amazing.
I have 2 daughters now, which I naturally conceived. So yes, I'm really blessed.
Magic. Oh, that's gorgeous. And I can imagine they're beautiful too. Fantastic. So, I mean, it's always so personal when something like that happens in your life and it leads you into what you're doing in both of your cases. And now what I'd love to ask you both, I'm not sure who's going to answer first, but how did you come to collaborate together? Because I know that you're doing beautiful work in this transformational space, and I'd love to know how that came about.
As you know, Alida and I are neighbors where we work in Glencairn, and when Alida walked in, it was just like an instant rapport. And so we knew on some level that we were going to work together, but we were still we'd only met at that stage. So to follow on, we've we've done, I've done some of these constellations with Alida and stood in for others during the group sessions. And then Alida's also come to me for sessions. And we've also referred clients between the two of us. So we had a very strong feeling that this was the way to move forward. And I feel also both of us having taken our own paths and done our own journey, because I think it's so important when you're going to work with people to do the work yourself. You cannot go out there and fix anybody. And this is what our course is about. It's about opening it up for you to find the tools, and having such a variety of modalities that we share with you. You're bound to find something that you resonate with and can carry you forward. We're looking for you to empower yourself, and that's the inspiration we want to ignite here.
Brilliant. I love it, Julian. And I just want to say hi to Anjana. Thank you so much for joining us. And Anjana is amazing. She's also a very experienced and phenomenal coach for women over 45. I think, Anjana, currently, I think that's your specialized area. And she's done amazing things with ladies, and she's also a happiness coach. So that's awesome. Thank you, Anjana. Julian, that makes such a lot of sense. And, I can imagine that from both of your perspectives, what you both bring together is just that much more powerful combined. And what I wanted to also ask is, so with all of your experience in healing and also transformational coaching, what have you seen as the typical blocks that we face in terms of accessing our inner wisdom? And kind of on a consistent basis as well, because sometimes I think most of us have those moments when we feel tuned in, but then we have those other moments when we get swept away by, life issues. And so what are those blocks, and how can we overcome them? Do you have anything to offer us on that?
I think the biggest blocks that people have, and which I experience myself at times as well, is to trust. You have got to trust the guidance that you're receiving. And that's not the outside guidance. You've got to trust the inside guidance. So you've got to make friends that whatever it is that you're feeling from your heart, not necessarily from your head, but what it is that you're feeling from your heart and the messages that you are receiving from your heart, that you've got to live through it, and that you've got to actually not give your power away to trust the outside world, but you've got to trust your inside world and then follow through. You've got to action what it is that you're feeling that you have to do. Without action, nothing is going to really happen for you. So in intuitive work, that becomes your biggest crutch to fall back onto, to get to know yourself better. Also, the other thing that I find is that people have got to actually really also understand their shadow. So we all are spiritual light seekers, and we all are aiming for the light, but we're also human beings, and we work with a shadow and a light shine. And I think if we can tap into our shadow and make friends with that, and we bring it out into us so that we know what that is, that could help you tremendously with working and expanding of yourself as well.
I love that insight.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Alida. Yeah, that really landed for me. What you were saying about trust really landed. And then what you said about the shadow, because it's true, we do tend to shy away from that and want to keep moving towards the light. Wow, thank you for that. One of the things that I've quite recently, I seem to have come across quite a lot, is the concept of life visioning versus visualization. So to use Michael Bernard Beckwith, I followed a course that he did about life visioning, and he was talking about progressing from wanting to visualize what you have in mind to receiving the guidance and allowing that to work through you. And it's not, I don't find it that easy, because my brain is so used to creating the vision, if you know what I mean, from having read, starting 25 years ago, Shakti Gawaine's little book on creative visualization, which was amazing, and visualized this fantastic flat in Camps Bay, actually in Cape Town, which came into being. But it's a whole different ballgame to really access that that inner wisdom. Jill, would you like to add anything to that to help us with that?
Absolutely. I believe, especially in these times, there's so much has changed. We are in a place of natural flow. If we trap or if we step into the divine feminine vibration, and when I say that there's a balance, it's not an airy fairy sense of stepping into that divine feminine. It's actually very balanced, very aligned, but there is a natural flow. And for me, it means loving yourself enough to allow that flow through. So it's no longer this push, forcing, trying to make things happen. And I think the visualization was part of that, is that almost like I can force this. Whereas divining, allowing that natural flow, that inspiration to come through, really carries you on that path to your true life experience. And you have to be true and loving to you, I believe, in whatever form that takes. So when I say loving to yourself, if you are tired and you need to have a rest today, take that rest. Even if it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes, that you just take some time out for you. I really, really feel that this is our calling now, is to be honoring to ourselves.
Beautiful, Joel. And just as you were speaking, I noticed 1717, the angel number.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So would you like to give us a little bit of insight, either of you, with regard to guidance and how you work with that, and kind of keep in touch with that?
With the numerology and then seeing the numbers or the signs.
Well, yeah, if that's part of it, just in terms of keeping in touch with allowing ourselves to be guided, if that makes sense, because I know I was very much schooled in the creative visualization thought process, and so my brain likes to dominate. It likes to imagine things, but I'm so aware, not all the time, but I'm aware when I think about it, how much more, as Jill explained there with the flow, how much more is available to us if we are open to allowing that guidance to come through. So I'm just wondering if you have anything to share with regard to that.
My take on this would be, Jill has just shared a life insight. And for us, we sometimes, as human beings, we're looking for confirmation. And just as she said that, something just resonated within yourself. And that's when that number, that's what you then saw, the number. And it's almost just like it's grounding it for you in this period of time. So it's almost like a sign for you to, do outside time. And that could be like a sign just to say to you, okay, well, what it is that she's saying to you, and you recognizing that number at that stage is the truth for you.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you, Alida. It felt very true, I must say. And so can we dive a little deeper into explaining how your modalities work? So, Jill, I don't know if you want to kick off with regard to the Reiki and the Egyptian Sechem, which I'm not sure if everybody knows about, and just how that actually works and the benefits that are available to people in those modalities.
Okay, sure. Reiki is, I'd say it's fairly well known. And what we do is we're really accessing that divine flow that's within us. And when I speak about that, I'm speaking about energy flow, the natural, the fact that everything that exists is energy. And so when I'm working with somebody, or when they come to a class, because I'm really focusing on developing incredible teacher trainers in the field of Reiki and Egyptian Sechem. So my focus has shifted somewhat, and it's amazing to see the path that these students are traveling, and just the differences that are coming through for them, the changes within their own transformation. So what it really does is tap into your inner wisdom. And when I speak about inner wisdom, it's there's an automatic inner wisdom. So it's your immune system, it's your breathing system, your respiratory system, it's your nervous system, just everything. And it's guided to set up a number of communications within your system, and that can shift anything. It can shift your physical well-being, it can shift your perspective, it can really change your life. And we all have the ability to tap into that and to work with it. It's already there. It's just awakening it and expanding that. So Egyptian Sekhem is something along the same lines, although it has a different vibration, I want to say, because it's still energy. It's still part of your natural makeup and being. But the essence of it is such a deep, universal love that there's no time or space that exists when you're working with it. Things can happen miraculously and instantaneously. And I've seen people really have huge transformations through this work, through doing the work themselves and through receiving. It's really incredible. And what I find is it's a self-development tool more than anything else. But there's the added advantages, of course.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jill. I feel such a sense of faith in the process as you're speaking. It kind of opens it up for me, feeling-wise, and I love that. Thank you. And I'd just like to respond to Palisa Matanyani. Thank you, Palisa, for joining us. She says, this live has literally just been brought to my attention. Please tell me there will be replay available. Yes, absolutely, Palisa. This will be still available on the page. I'm not sure if you're with us I think you're on Facebook. So it will remain here. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to watch it, finish watching later, and leave any questions or comments for Julian and Alida, any of us, and we will stay in touch with you. So thank you. Julian, really beautiful. I love that. And so just a quick question. When you're working, do you combine the Reiki and the Egyptian Sekhem, or are they two separate practices?
Technically, I suppose they're two separate things, but when I'm working with somebody, you don't get to decide what, it just flows through. In other words, there's times I'm working and something new just comes in, and it's really aligned to that person, and that's why it's coming up at that time. So each session is completely different, and it just depends on who you're working with.
Magic. But then when people come to you for training, it would be either Reiki or Egyptian Sekhem, and maybe both. Is it quite often both?
It's often both, yes.
Okay, makes sense. Wonderful. Okay, Alida, let's get you in here. I love the sound. Oh, okay, numerology I've had a little bit of exposure to, which I'm fascinated by, and I know nothing at all about family constellations, which sounds amazing. Can you share a bit with us about those and how you work and the benefits of those for our viewers?
Sure. Yes, it's two different modalities. The numerology I love because in my previous life, before I started the spiritual work, I was into accounting. So I'm a numbers orientated person. And there's just so much that you can learn about yourself in numerology. So you work with your name and you work with your date of birth. And through that, we can draw up a chart for you where you can find out what is your life purpose, what you're meant to be doing here, what is your karmic lessons, what cycles are you going into. So sometimes in numerology, we work in 9-year cycles. And then when it comes to a 9-year, and you've got a specific 9-year, and you want to create something new in a 9-year, it kind of like the universe just doesn't work together with you because you are busy actually on another level, just closing off. So it's great when you go into a 1 year, the next year, you actually the universe just opens up, and it's just amazing how it works to see how it's almost like the matrix out there and how it corresponds to the number vibration. So it's good to know where you are. It's also, for me, the karmic accumulation and what it is that you are burning for yourself. That is very, very, very valuable in the numerology system. And also the numerology is all about balance. And once again, I love the balance of life. So it's not just all positive. It's all there's the negative and the positive quality to any number. And if you can understand that within your life path, it can give you a great insight forward. Not just if you can understand that in your own life path, but if you can look at someone else's life path and see where they're coming from and have an understanding where it is that they are, I find there could be less judgment, more empathy, and understanding to where another's journey is. So there's a lot to learn about numerology, about yourself, and how to adjust certain timing. So you would adjust, like, you'd rather open up a business in the 8th year than what you'd open up a business in the 7th year. You'd rather go study in the 7th year than what you would go study in the 8th year. Those kind of little nuggets that you can use as a guidance, and how to prepare yourself better for the cycles that you're working with through life. So that is the numerology-based system. I work with the Pythagorean and numerology system, but there's so many. I've actually taken a couple of modalities, and I'm also combined them. I do that with the readings, but the constellation therapy is a different modality, although it blends in beautifully with the numerology. But the constellation therapy is actually, it's such a vast topic, and it can take so long to actually just explain it. It's actually really difficult to explain how the constellation therapy works. But what happened is that Bert Hellinger came to South Africa about 25 years ago, and he's the founder of the constellation therapy. And he started working with a Xhosa clan in Cape Town. And from there on, they derived that we carry within us, we subconsciously align ourselves to family patterns, which we can carry the patterning 7 generations back. 7 generations back, any patterning from your dad's side, or 7 generations back, any patterning from your mom's side. And then subconsciously, we work with those patterns and we play it out to say, and sometimes we do know that we do it. So there's a lot of abuse in the family, or there's a lot of suicide in the family, or there is addiction in the family, and it just keeps on rolling over, and you get yourself entrapped in that pattern, but you don't know how to shift it, or you don't know where it starts. So what we do with the constellation therapy is we identify those blockages, we identify where the patterning is coming from, and then we kindly and gently, with a lot of empathy, give it back to the person who it belongs to. So that it's not yours to carry any longer, and that you can be free to lead your own life. Why would you want to carry the patterns for the family? Most of us do it because we are looking for a tribe to belong to. So it's our subconscious loyalty to our family and our sense of belonging. And out of the great deep love that we carry this for the people. It's more like you come in and you think, okay, well, I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to carry it for the family. And it's mostly a lot of the impacts of us that also tends to carry the bigger family patterns. I mean, I would deal with families, but one would not tap into the pattern at all, and then somebody else would just have taken in all those patterns, and it creates blockages in your own life. So the constellation therapy is a great way of identifying those patterns, shifting it, and allowing you to be free of that.
Wow, that sounds super powerful. And Jana said family patterns are powerful. And she says, I see the patterns in how I put myself out there. That's fascinating, Anjana, and fascinating, Alida. So how much do you need to know, though, about the rest of the family? I mean, if you were working on me, say, on the patterns, is it enough for you just to know me? Or do I need to, give a lot of history with regard to my family? Do you tap into that automatically? How does that work?
I tap into, I would get a little background of your family. There's 2 ways of doing it. The most effective way of doing it is the group therapy, right? So, and if you think about family constellation therapy, you think you have to bring the whole family with, and you're all going to do something together, but that's not how it works. Okay, so you come into the group. Nobody of the group that's there, everybody comes to work with their own stuff, so nobody knows what's going on with your stuff. I would know because I would have a detailed background of yours, but then my application of the work is extremely intuitively. So I work on an extremely intuitive level when it comes to the constellation. So a lot of the stuff happens, the magic happens in the actual workshop, because I tap in where it is that we need to work, and we follow the energy. So there's the history background. So you have other people, then we work in a circle, and you would say, sit outside the circle. You will pick somebody to maybe represent your mom. You will pick somebody else to represent your dad, who does you, but they will come and they will show you aspects of what is needed to be shown in the field. We call it the field, we call it the morphogenic field, because that is our own, carry the pattern 7 generations back. We all have our own morphogenic field that we carry. And in that, you, can see from the outside what is happening. And very often we are so entrenched in our lives, we're so entrenched and we're so angry and we're so bitter and we're so sad that we don't really see that, okay, wait a minute, my mom really had a hard time and she carried the burden from her mom. And the only tools that she had, she gave to me. So it's a realization of actually an understanding of where it's coming from as well. And then also, then you can go in there and the energy actually shifts. So other people's, the parents, the energy of the family shifts without them actually being there. And it really brings with tremendous healing results. And it's fast, you know. You can shift in an hour and a half constellation. You can shift decades and decades of burdenings, of patterns that you have carried out of love, you know, not even out of anything else, but just out of a deep love for your family system.
Brilliant. Yes, this is fascinating. And Jana commented as well. She said subconscious loyalty to family can be obstacles in life, my personal experience. I totally agree. And this is exactly what you're saying. From the best intentioned place, you know, we love our family and we have that very strong resonance and sense of belonging. So I suppose it is our nature to protect that in a way, and be loyal, as Jana says. But wow, I mean, what powerful work. So combining that, I'm just getting an inkling of how amazing this can be. The combination of what you're doing, Alida, and, you know, tapping into all of that, and then what you're doing, Jill, with getting in touch with the flow, phenomenal. Bill, can you give us a little insight in how this ties together? How in your program that you're putting together, how does it work with you and Alida? Is it separate sessions? How does that play out?
Okay, yes, there are separate sessions. We'll be doing a session a week for a 9-week period. And with each session, with some of them, it'll be a combination. And then obviously some are more aligned to, like, Alida's experience in numerology and tarot, etc., and mine in Reiki and Egyptian Sekhem. But with each one, our focus is to bring you tools that you can tap into, something that you can align to bring your own transformation, to start creating that aligned path for you, you know, to connect to what you truly want in your life and how you want to experience that. So what we really want is for them to find their deep transformation, a path to their deepest transformation.
Brilliant. Yes, I'm starting to see this come together, because I mean, we are so much more than just ourselves. We are in relation to all the people around us too, and yet the transformation begins here. So as you're saying, amazing. And you just mentioned tarot cards as well, and you mentioned that, Alida, earlier. Can you give us a few tips with regard to tarot cards and, you know, for our viewers, in terms of how we can utilize them, you know, for ourselves, or if that's not a good idea, I'm not sure. Just in daily life for guidance?
Yes, the tarot cards are a very powerful modality to work with as well. It is a tricky one if you don't have guidance on how to actually read it. It's almost like the proper tarot deck. I would really advise you to get somebody to help you or teach you if you really want to go into that a little bit more, because it can be a little bit confusing. You get these angel card decks, which is a little bit easier to read for daily inspiration, because they normally come with a little booklet. So, but the tarot card can give you vast information about future, what is going to happen in the future. It also explains what happened in the past. And it also can give you, how I use the tarot cards is, I use it more for, like, let's look at the different options. You know, it's not like, okay, now you're definitely going to get that house. Let's look at the option. If you take that house, how's that going to look, or is it a good choice for you? So we combine that. But using it for your own daily inspiration can give you a lot of insight. So I would say, if you've got a tarot deck, if you want to learn how to use it, or you know a little bit about it, just make sure that you clean your cards, because the cards also have energy. So before you do like a little reading for yourself, just take a little candle or take incense and just anti-clockwise your cards 7 times around, and that should clear the energy. And then you start off and you pull the card, you set your intent. It's always very important, the intent with what you work. So you set your intent and you ask your specific question and you pull your card, and then once again, trust the message that you will be receiving from the card. You can't go put the card back because you don't like it. you have to take the message in and work with it. And sometimes the message only reveal itself like a day later, maybe a week later. But that is what you need to hear at that specific time.
I love that you said that, Alida, because yes, my hand is up. I'm that person too. I want the card I want. Oh, that's so funny. I've never worked with tarot cards at all, and thank you also for mentioning angel cards, because I've been given angel cards before. I've got a beautiful deck, and I really like that. So, and like you say, it shows you, it explains. And Julian, I know when I did a meditation course with you some time ago, you had beautiful bird cards too, which I suppose is similar to the angel cards, just different diagrams. And so would you recommend the clearing exercise for the angel cards too?
I would do it personally. It's not maybe majorly important for everybody else, but because I see the energy that's attached to the cards, because you are asking for higher guidance. So you are tapping into some form of a higher guidance. And for me, it's really important to ensure that the energy is clear and the intent is clear before you ask a question.
Beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that. That's great. And so, ladies, I'd like to ask you if you have any special stories to share with regard to transformations that people have experienced through your coaching or your healing work, just to give a little bit more insight into what you do and how it affects people and their lives.
I'll tell you a story about, because we're dealing with a lot of this lately, especially through the lockdown and the changes in our world at present. There's a lot of depression, anxiety, and fear regarding this, or regarding our path forward, because we don't know it and we can't control it, which in actual fact is the natural way anyway, but we thought we could control it before, but now there's no knowing how we're going to control it. And so I worked with someone who was deeply depressed, and this was in Northern Ireland when I was living there. And, I had him come, he was referred on by a client, and he was so depressed that I did the first session and he went away. He seemed slightly better, but I wouldn't say he was dancing or anything radical at that stage. And the second session came, and I also felt, wow, is something shifting here, or isn't it? By the third session, I was blown away because I didn't expect the results that I saw. He had started antidepressants and he went off them. And I'm not recommending this to everybody. I do recommend that you get some guidance before you do something like that. But anyway, this is what he had done. And his whole perspective on life had changed. We did do a good few more sessions, but it was enough to just transform his life. He came from a different perspective. He made very big and bold changes in his life. And it's amazing what can happen when you go there, when you're willing to go there for yourself. So following on that, a friend, or not a friend, it was a client first and then a friend, recently also shifted through regular sessions, and she was just having half-hour sessions. She shifted off all her meds and all her antidepressants, anxiety meds, and started, she still took some holistic type of support, but it wasn't as intense as the other meds were for her at that point in time. So, yeah, it was remarkable to see the changes in her life too.
Wow, that's fantastic, Jill. Very inspiring. That a perspective, sorry, that was my dog. That a perspective change like that can shift so much. And I bet that can happen also with the family work, Alida. Do you have any stories from your side of transformations that have happened for your clients?
There's many. There's always a shift after the constellation days or even the readings. But the one that I think I've just heard from her, so she's in my heart at the moment. But this lady came to see me probably in the beginning of the year, and she was in a deeply abused relationship with her dad. Her dad abused her from the age, I think, of about 5 up until the age of about 22. It was completely accepted in her family, and it was so-called her duty to be sleeping with him still at the age of 22. And then she, at that stage, spoke to her boyfriend at that stage, and he said to her, "No, but listen, this is not okay. This can't happen." And she then went and took her dad to jail and got him into jail together with a social worker. In that, the whole family turned against her because she's the one that actually got and put the dad into the jail. So her whole family turned against her, and the biggest one that turned against her was her mom. So when she came to see me, she was quite traumatized because she was also on this level where she now just got married and she wanted to bring in a child. So I could see the child for her. So I recommended for her to come and do a constellation therapy. So in order to protect the child, because that child stands the chance of actually taking on some of the burdens. So I just felt they really need to just let us just shift it for her, which she was open enough to do. And we had the constellation, and her mom wasn't speaking to her for the last 5 years. And in the constellation, it was a traumatic constellation. Julian was there. It was very deep. And we really tried to shift the mom's energy. And we thought we couldn't to the degree that we would have wanted to. But I heard from her about 2 months ago, and she said to me that her mom has, out of her own, reached out to her and was asking her forgiveness after not speaking to her for 5 years. And she then also said that because she shifted so much with the work that she's done, that she had the ability to take the hand that her mom reached out to her. She had the ability to accept it and to forgive her on a level as well. So that to me was just so inspiring. And then she WhatsApped me last night to say to me she's pregnant. So
wow,
yes, a truly inspiring story, and that is what makes my heart sing.
Oh, Alida, I was actually holding my hand over my mouth so I didn't make too much noise because that's a hectic story. And for anyone to have to go through that is just almost unthinkable. And so, wow, amazing that you could help her like that. And as you say, contribute to restoring that relationship with her mom, because, oh my goodness, I can't even really imagine being in that space. Sure. So phenomenal work that you're doing. And I can just imagine also for, even if you can do things like that, then just even the much less traumatic scenarios that can set people free is really inspiring. Amazing. So ladies, I know we're going to need to wrap up in about 5 minutes, so that I know, Jill, you can get to your next appointment. So can I ask you just to share with our audience how they can get in touch with each of you, and just give us a little more insight into the program that you're putting together, which I believe is happening quite soon.
So I am available on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can connect with me through those platforms, or you can connect with me via my website, www.julianhigginson.com. And I look forward to connecting with you. We start our morning class on the 31st of August, and the evening class will be on the 2nd of September. And you can either join the morning or the evening class. You can make a choice, or if you miss you're doing the morning class and you miss that class, you can always join the evening class if that works better for you. So we look forward to connecting with you and sharing this wonderful platform with you all.
Brilliant. Okay, Alida, can you maybe give us a little more insight into the structure of the program, how that works for people?
So what we're planning to do is that's going to be a 9-week course that we're running. As Julian was saying, it will be either the Tuesday morning. If you do skip the Tuesday morning, if you sign up for Tuesday morning and you skip that, you're always welcome to join the same class that will be presented on the Thursday. So you'll have a double time to make up. It's going to be an hour long every class. Some of that we will host together. We will always be there, but some of that I will take and some of them Julian will take, depending on our specialities and our skill sets. We are aiming to open the path to understanding the different modalities, what is available to you to help yourself. So it is a beginner's program. We are planning to do a second program after this where we'll deepen it even further. But we just feel that in these days and times, people are looking for different ways to connect. They are looking for answers, which is maybe not the conservative ways. The whole world's been rock apart. I mean, we don't follow, nothing of our structures is standing any longer. So it's just a new way for some people, and for some people that always had an interest in it, it's a way to just go deeper and connect with themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies. And Alida, to contact you, what is the best place to do that?
So my website, I've got a website called www.magenta.co.za. So you can get hold of me through that. Facebook, I'm on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram or on WhatsApp. It's also a good idea.
Okay, amazing.
Which is all on my website.
All on your website. Thank you, ladies. And I'm assuming this is an online course. Is that right? Do you have any in-person element, or is it all online?
All online.
It's all online.
Okay. Will you be using Zoom? Is that how it works?
Yes, with Zoom.
Brilliant. Okay. And how big will your group be? Do you have a limit on that?
No, what we tend to do is we tend to trust our intuition. So we're going to trust that the people that is going to be there has to be there, and that will be the exact right amount of people that needs to be there.
Brilliant. Spoken like the ultimate intuitive teacher. I love it, Alida. That's magic. I'm gonna take that to heart for my next courses. Love it. Okay, ladies, have you got anything more? I know we need to wrap up. Have you got any final thoughts, pearls of wisdom to share with our viewers with regard to transformation, health, healing?
Okay, so I'd just like to share that all power lies within you. You are far more powerful than you can ever imagine. So through this introductory course, we choose to have you access that and to see your true beauty.
Beautifully said. And the way you say it, Julian, I believe you. That's magic. It's empowering just to listen to you. Alida, do you have a final thought to share with us?
Yes, my message are almost the same as yours, Jill. I also just want to say in these times that we are living, so much is out of control, and the only thing that you can really control is yourself. And just to get to know yourself a little bit better, to understand yourself a little bit better, and to know that you can trust yourself, that would give you a lot of guidance and help to assist you forward for whatever it is that we are still to experience.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Alida. And yes, you're right. These are challenging times for so many people. So to have this shining light, but also remembering that we can explore our shadow side, I'm remembering that from you, is wonderful. And to have beautiful guides like the two of you, that's a blessing. So thank you, ladies, so much both for coming on. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom. And thank you to all of you who've been with us, whether you're live or watching the replay. It's been wonderful to be with you. Take care, everybody, and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.